Imagine sending a casual text message to someone you know. You sigh. You share an opinion. And then you move on with your day. Now imagine that same message being read out in court, in the middle of one of the biggest corporate battles in K-pop history. That's exactly what happened to V of BTS, when private KakaoTalk messages between him and Min Hee-jin were submitted as legal evidence in her dispute against HYBE. And, at the center of it all, allegations that rookie girl group ILLIT looked similar to NewJeans. Today, we're going to unpack this story carefully, chronologically, and without exaggeration. Because this isn't just about one private message. It's about power, creativity, corporate control, and the fragile line between private speech and public consequence. Chapter 1. The architect behind NewJeans. To understand the tension, you first need to understand Min Hee-jin. Before founding ADOR, she was already one of the most recognized creative directors in the K-pop industry. When she launched NewJeans under HYBE's subsidiary structure, the group became an instant phenomenon. Their branding felt fresh and distinct. Minimalist visuals, a Y2K-inspired styling, soft, natural makeup, youthful, understated choreography, a nostalgic yet modern sound. NewJeans didn't just debut, they disrupted the existing girl group formula. Over time, Min's identity became deeply intertwined with the group's creative DNA. Many fans saw her as the architect behind their concept and success. So when HYBE debuted ILLIT in 2024 under another subsidiary, comparisons began almost immediately. Chapter 2. The Similarity Debate. Online communities started pointing out parallels between ILLIT and NewJeans. Casual, soft styling. Airy vocal tones. A youthful, school-age concept. Natural, everyday visual direction. Supporters of Min argued that ILLIT's rollout felt too close to NewJeans' established identity. On the other hand, supporters of ILLIT pushed back. They argued that trends evolve, and that soft Y2K aesthetics were already circulating throughout the industry. The debate intensified when Min publicly raised concerns that ILLIT's concept overlapped too heavily with NewJeans. HYBE firmly rejected those claims. But by this point, the issue was no longer just about artistic similarity. Behind the scenes, tensions between Min and HYBE were escalating over shareholder rights and corporate authority. What started as a creative debate gradually became part of a much larger power struggle. Chapter 3. The Lawsuit. The conflict formally entered the legal arena when HYBE moved to dismiss Min from her executive position, accusing her of attempting to undermine company control. In response, Min filed legal action. One of the central legal questions became this: were her statements about ILLIT defamatory, or were they simply expressions of personal opinion? That distinction would ultimately shape the entire case. And that's when an unexpected piece of evidence surfaced. Chapter 4. The KakaoTalk Messages. During proceedings at the Seoul Central District Court, Min's legal team submitted private KakaoTalk conversations as supporting material. Among those messages were exchanges with V. In one conversation, V reportedly said something along the lines of, "Sigh, I know, right? Even I looked at it and thought, this is similar." It wasn't a press statement. It wasn't a public accusation. It wasn't an official industry evaluation. It was a private conversation. But once it was admitted into court records, it became part of the public narrative. Why did it matter? Because it suggested that Min's perception of similarity was not entirely isolated. It showed that another respected industry figure had informally shared a similar impression. This helped strengthen her legal argument that her statements were subjective opinions, not malicious defamation. Chapter 5. The Court's Ruling. In early 2026, the court ruled in Min Hee-jin's favor on a key component of her dispute with HYBE. Most importantly, the court determined that her comments about similarity qualified as subjective opinion. The court did not rule that plagiarism occurred. It did not conclude that ILLIT copied NewJeans. Instead, it clarified that expressing perceived similarity does not automatically constitute defamation under Korean law. That legal nuance is critical. The ruling protected the right to express an opinion. It did not validate a plagiarism accusation. Still, Once news broke that V's private messages had been used as evidence, public reaction intensified dramatically. Chapter 6. V speaks out. After media outlets reported on the KakaoTalk messages, V addressed the situation through Instagram stories. He clarified several points. The messages were casual. They were part of a private exchange. He did not intend to take sides. He felt uncomfortable that the conversation became public. HYBE also emphasized that the messages were not meant to represent an official evaluation of ILLIT. At that moment, the conversation shifted again. It was no longer only about similarity. It became about privacy. Should private conversations be introduced in corporate legal disputes without explicit consent? And more broadly, what responsibility does a global idol carry, even in private speech? Chapter 7. The industry implications. K-pop is not just about music. It is branding. It is intellectual property. It is visual strategy. It is concept architecture. Creative direction is monetized. Aesthetic identity is competitive capital. When two groups under the same corporate umbrella appear similar, scrutiny intensifies. But creativity rarely exists in isolation. Trends cycle. Styles overlap. Concepts evolve collectively. The law often struggles to define where influence ends and imitation begins. And that gray area is exactly where this controversy exists. Chapter 8. Privacy in the idol era. This case also highlights something deeper, the vulnerability of idols. V did not make a public statement criticizing ILLIT. He did not post commentary online. He responded in a private chat. Yet because of his global stature, even a brief remark carried enormous weight once it became public. In today's entertainment industry, private speech is increasingly fragile. And when corporate stakes are high, documentation can quickly become legal leverage. Chapter 9. Public reaction. Fans were divided. Some argued. Even V noticed the similarity. Others countered. A casual comment shouldn't be weaponized. ILLIT supporters emphasized that rookies should not be dragged into executive disputes. NewJeans supporters insisted that creative ownership deserves protection. Meanwhile, neutral observers questioned the ethics of exposing personal messages in high-profile legal battles. The discussion expanded beyond fandom spaces and into broader conversations about corporate governance in Korean entertainment companies. Chapter 10. The bigger picture. At its core, this story is about control. Who controls creative identity? Who controls corporate authority? Who controls narrative? Min Hee-jin fought to defend her position and perspective. HYBE defended its corporate structure and its artists. V became an unintended participant. And ILLIT found themselves at the center of controversy early in their career. The court resolved a legal question. But culturally, the debate remains unresolved. Here's what we know with clarity. Min Hee-jin won a significant legal ruling. The court categorized her statements as opinion. A V's private KakaoTalk message was admitted as evidence. A V clarified he did not intend to publicly intervene. No legal judgment declared plagiarism. Yet a short private message became one of the most discussed elements of the entire dispute. Because in K-pop, perception is powerful. And when global icons are involved, even private thoughts can reshape public narratives. Was this a harmless private opinion amplified by media exposure? Or does it reveal deeper structural tensions inside one of the most influential entertainment companies in the world? Let me know your perspective in the comments. If you want more in-depth analysis of the business, legal, and cultural forces shaping K-pop today, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because behind every stage performance, there's strategy. And sometimes a courtroom.